Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn two important agile methodologies used in software development. One is Kanban and the other one is Scaled Agile Framework SAFe. First, we'll understand how Kanban helps teams manage their daily work efficiently using visualization and continuous flow. Then we'll move on to SAFe, which is used when agile needs to be implemented across multiple teams in larger organizations. By the end of this session, you'll be able to explain the principles of Kanban, understand why Kanban is used, describe the components of a Kanban board, compare Kanban with Scrum, apply Kanban principles in software projects. In the second half, you'll understand why organizations adopt SAFe and how multiple agile teams work together. Now let us see what is Kanban. Kanban is an agile workflow management framework. The word Kanban comes from Japanese and means visual signal or signboard. The main idea is simple. Instead of assigning many tasks at once, we make work visible, limit the number of ongoing tasks, and complete work continuously. One famous quote in Kanban is stop starting and start finishing. This means that instead of beginning many tasks simultaneously, teams should focus on completing the existing tasks first. The important characteristics are visual workflow, pull based system, continuous delivery, flexible planning, continuous improvement. The next is the history of Kanban. Kanban did not originate in software development. It was developed by Toyota during the 1940s by Taichi Ono. Toyota observed supermarkets where shelves were restocked only after customers purchased products. Similarly, production should begin only when there is a demand. Later, David Anderson introduced the same concept in software development, making Kanban one of the popular agile methodologies. The next is Kanban principles. There are two groups of principles. The first group focuses on change management. Instead of changing everything immediately, Kanban encourages organizations to start with their existing process, respect current roles, and gradually improve. The second group focuses on service delivery. The teams should always understand the customer needs, manage the workflow efficiently and effectively, and continuously improve their process. Notice that Kanban promotes evolution rather than revolution. Six practices define how Kanban is implemented. First, visualize the workflow. Second, limit work in progress. Third, manage the flow of work. Then, make working policies explicit so that everyone follows the same rules. Fifth one, establish feedback loops. Finally, improve collaboratively using data and observations. These six practices make Kanban practical rather than theoretical. Kanban works best when requirements change frequently. Examples include software maintenance, production support, bug fixing, service requests, help desk systems. Imagine IT support system where every hour new tickets arrive. It is impossible to plan 2 week sprints because priorities change constantly. Kanban allows the team to immediately pull the highest priority ticket. Kanban is not ideal for every project. For example, if work depends heavily on external approvals, or if all tasks must finish together before the release, or research projects where outcomes are uncertain, in all these cases, Kanban may not provide sufficient planning structure. So, choosing the framework depends on the characteristics of the project which we are taking. Now, Let's look at the most recognizable part of Kanban, which is the Kanban board. Every task begins in the backlog. As work progresses, it moves through stages such as acknowledged, development, testing, deployment, and finally done. The board provides the complete visibility. Anyone can instantly know what work is pending, what is currently being developed, where bottlenecks exist when seeing this Kanban board. Today, many organizations use tools like Jira or Azure DevOps instead of physical sticky notes. Observe the workflow shown here. Notice how work items move from left to right. Different colors may represent different task types. Instead of asking a developer what you're going to work or what you're working on now, the manager can simply look at the board to know all that is happening in the project. So, we have the work stages such as backlog, acknowledged, development, testing, deployment, and done. So, the job cards will move from the backlog to the done in various stages of the project. So, this is the pull system. We have the Kanban workflow here. The first is the work request arrive. A new task feature or bug or ticket is added to the backlog. Then the pull the next task. That is, the team members will pull the highest priority task from the backlog only when they have completed their current work and when they have the limits in their WIP limit. The next is to execute the task. The task moves through the workflow stages such as backlog, in progress, testing, and then the done. The next is to monitor the workflow, where the Kanban board provides the visibility of the task progress. The teams will identify and resolve the bottlenecks if there is, and complete the project and deliver. So, only after testing and validation, the tasks are moved to the done and it can be released immediately. Then repeat the process. After completing a task, the team pulls the next item, ensuring a smooth and continuous workflow. So this is the pull system. Unlike the traditional systems where managers assign the task, Kanban follows a pull system. The process is a new request enters the backlog, then the developer completes the current task. Only then the developer pulls the next high priority item. This prevents multitasking and improves the focus. The workflow repeats continuously. The next is WIP limit, which means work in progress. Suppose we are fixing the limit as 3. If 3 tasks are already in progress, a fourth task cannot start until one of the 3 finishes. This prevents the developers from juggling too many activities simultaneously. As a result, quality improves, delivery becomes faster, and bottlenecks become easier to identify. This is the limit. Like you have some metrics like lead time, cycle time, throughput, then work item age. The next is Kanban versus Scrum, a comparison. This comparison is frequently asked in many of the exams. So remember these major differences. Kanban has continuous workflow. Scrum works in fixed sprints. Kanban has no mandatory roles, but Scrum requires 3 roles, that is, Scrum Master, who facilitates the entire process, the product owner, and the developers. Kanban allows changes anytime, but Scrum generally waits until the next sprint. Kanban emphasizes the work in progress limits. Scrum emphasizes sprint commitments. This is your activity. Let's imagine we are developing an online shopping system. Each feature is written on a card. So you have cards like registration, login, search, cart, payment, order history, review system, admin dashboard, etc. So if your work in progress limit is 3, which 3 tasks would you start first? Which tasks should wait? And let's discuss 1 minute. So here is a recap. We have to remember four important ideas related to Kanban. One is visualize the work, then limit work in progress, use pull based scheduling, then continuously improve. So references Geeks for Geeks Kanban Agile methodology. Now imagine one Scrum team becomes 50 Scrum teams. So managing communication becomes much harder. That is where SAFE comes into picture. Now let us discuss about SAFE in detail. So let's discuss about need for scaling agile, core values of SAFE, 10 lean agile principles, SAFE levels and configurations, agile release train. Then why scaling agile? Scrum works effectively for one or few teams developing a product. Large enterprises often have hundreds of developers working on multiple products simultaneously. Independent agile teams may create communication gaps and integration issues. Organizations require a common framework to coordinate planning, development, testing, and delivering across many teams. So, SAFE provides structured guidance for applying agile practices at enterprise scale. Now, let us see what is SAFE. SAFE stands for Scaled Agile Framework. It combines agile, lean, DevOps, and system thinking. Its purpose is to align all teams towards common business goals, continuously delivering value. Now, let us see what is the purpose of SAFE. Organizations adopt SAFE to deliver products faster, improve communication, collaboration, and align business with IT, increase the transparency, and continuously improve the quality. The core values of SAFE. There are four important values. Alignment ensures everyone work towards a common goal. Built-in quality means quality is developed into the product rather than tested later. Transparency builds trust. Program execution focuses on delivering value consistently. We have 10 lean agile principles. First, SAFE emphasizes economic thinking, system thinking, continuous learning, incremental development, decentralized decisions, and organizing around customer values. There are seven core competencies of business agility. Business agility depends on seven competencies including lean agile leadership, technical agility, product delivery, portfolio management, organizational agility, and continuous learning. We have four configurations of SAFE. The first is Essential SAFE, which is the starting point of implementation. Large Solution SAFE, which supports development of large and complex solutions. And Portfolio SAFE, which aligns strategy with investment. And Full SAFE, that combines everything for enterprise-wide implementations. The next is Agile Release Train, which is ART, and it is a long-term team of Agile teams. Typically, it includes 5 to 12 teams, 50 to 125 people working towards one business objective. Think of a train where every coach moves together towards the same destination. Program increment. The program increment usually lasts 8 to 12 weeks. It starts with PI planning, continues through multiple iterations, and ends with a system demonstration and retrospective. These are the important roles of SAFE. The first is release train engineer, who is going to facilitate and removes the impediments. The next is product management, which defines the vision and prioritizes the features. Then is the system architect, who provides guidance and architectural design. Then is the product owner, who manages the backlog and clarifies the requirements with the development team. The scrum master, who is going to facilitate the agile practices within the team. And then the agile team, who's going to design, develop, test, and deliver the product increments. The next is benefits. This includes faster delivery, better collaboration, higher quality, greater transparency, and business alignment. However, implementation requires leadership support, training, investment, and cultural changes. So the challenges of SAFE, this requires a leadership commitment, and initially the implementation becomes costly. Extensive training is required, and it requires a transformation that includes time, and the coordination becomes difficult. Excessive process adherence, and it is are not suitable for all the organizations. So this is the summary. To conclude, Kanban focuses on managing the workflow of a team through visualization, pull based scheduling, and work in progress limits. SAFE extends the agile principles beyond a single team and enables the large organizations to coordinate multiple agile teams while continuously delivering customer value. So these are the reference links. Thank you.